Hey guys, what's up? Thank you for coming back for another week. I've spoken about making this video in my last two videos, showing you guys my new apartment and also my old apartment that I've been living in for a year. This video, I'm talking about all the tips that I wish I had known in looking for an apartment in Los Angeles, or basically just looking for an apartment in Los Angeles. Every city is different, every market is different, and LA is a completely different animal of its own. So without further ado, if you guys are ready, go ahead and give this video a big thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and hit the bell to get notified anytime I post, and let's get to it. Regardless of where you are and where you're living, when you are looking for an apartment, I think the first thing that you should do is establish your budget. Know how much you're making at your job, how much your expenses are already, and then see, what can you afford? What is your ideal price that you would like to pay for rent? I didn't want to pay more than $1,300. And evaluating how much I make at my jobs and what I could afford to spend each month on rent, $1,300 was pretty much my max that I was gonna spend. Now in LA, that's not really high. Things run very, very expensive in LA. It makes things easier if you have a roommate, but I wanted to live alone. I want to live alone so that I can do exactly what I want when I want to do it, and I can leave my place exactly how I want it. Anyway, I just knew that I wanted to live alone. So in knowing my price range, I was then able to move forward or really begin. So where do you really begin? And looking for apartments in Los Angeles, here are the websites and apps that I used. Apartments.com, Pad Mapper, Hot Pads, and another app just called Apartments. Each app allows you to tell your price range, the area you pretty much want to stay in, what features you would like, and it also tells you what is and what isn't included in your apartment. And by that I mean some apartments had utilities included, such as electricity and gas, and other apartments I would have to pay for both electricity and gas. I think Apartments.com is the most reliable website. Pad Mappers is really good, and Hot Pads. The app that I use called Apartments, sometimes it was fine, but sometimes there would be some scams posted on there, but there were even some scams posted on Apartments.com, so nothing is definite, just make sure you look into everything. So warning signs to look for are things that are too good to be true, like a 2-bedroom for only $600 a month. You're not gonna find anything like that in Los Angeles. Most of the time for a 2-bedroom, it's $2,000 plus a month. Know your market and kind of look for scams. All reliable places that I looked at had a phone number, an email. I could Google exactly where the apartment was and see it from the outside. Some scams, if you searched in maps, you could see nothing was coming up or it was obscure. Just do your research, because there are people out there, as awful as it is, who are just trying to make money. I found my current apartment on Apartments.com. The day that the listing came out, I actually saw it the same day, and I agreed to the apartment the next day because things in LA go very, very quickly. I think the best time frame for looking for an apartment in Los Angeles is 4 to 2 weeks before you need to move. I started looking 2 months in advance, and I kind of got laughed at by landlords. They were like, oh, this place is gonna be gone by the end of the week. Why are you looking so early? Which, I'm an early bird kind of person. I didn't want to be homeless. So I thought looking 2 months in advance was what I was supposed to do. Maybe in another city that's what you should do, but not in LA. People need to rent out rooms as soon as possible. And most of the time people are looking 2 weeks to 1 week in advance. I think 2 weeks to 1 week is a little pushing it. So I say 3.5 weeks to 2 weeks is your best time frame, because most of the time you can go in and say, look, I need a place for the end of the month, but I'm willing to commit now. And most of the time landlords will be willing to work with you. And sometimes they can throw in a 1 month free special or a month to month kind of lease, which is good, especially for an artist who may need to leave. I needed a place by March 1, so I began looking February 1, and I found my place I think 2 weeks before I needed to move out, which I gave myself plenty of time, but sometimes things go quickly, or the ones that I wanted, they didn't have parking, which, speaking of parking, that was a feature that I absolutely needed. So the next thing that you need to evaluate or decide on is what features you absolutely need. For me, it was parking and space. I didn't want to live in a 300 square foot apartment. Yes, it would have been a little bit cheaper, but I'd rather work a little harder to have more space than not and then have a smaller space, because I do a lot of things in my apartment. I film YouTube videos, I film self-tapes, I work out in my apartment, and also just being crammed is not something that I like. I needed a decent sized apartment and parking, because looking for street parking in Los Angeles you're not gonna do it. I've had friends who have had to drive around for 2 hours looking for parking, and I was like, no, I'm not doing that. So I needed parking. I would have liked a place with air conditioning. My place does not have air conditioning, but my old place also didn't have it. So it is something that I'm used to, but during June through August, I know I'm gonna sweat, but that's okay because I have space and I have parking, which is what I needed. Be sure and determine it's a need and not a want, because yes, I would like an apartment with a pool and a 1-bedroom apartment, but it's something that I didn't really need. And especially as someone who is trying to be financially savvy in their early 20s, I knew that I should just stick with what I needed and not just a bunch of wants, because I will get to the wants one day once I'm out of debt and with better jobs. Anyway, establish needs and stick with needs. Evaluate your commute to work. This is a big point because I knew that I still wanted to be able to walk to work, because at my job, you have to pay for parking and I refuse. I think that's stupid. So I wanted to still be able to walk to work. I also know the area. I've been living here since I've moved to Los Angeles. Also, my school is still in the area and they do offer services for alumni, which I know will begin again once Corona gets better, whenever that is, and I do want to use those services because I pay for it. I pay for it. But if you're someone who is going to drive to work, see how long it's going to take you to get to work, the price of gas it's going to cost you to get to work, because that is an added monthly expense that you will be paying. Also, evaluate the area that you're in. Do you feel safe in that area? Do you like the people or what the area has to offer? Where I'm at now, there's a Ross, a Marshalls, a Target, a Rouse, and a Food for Less, all within a couple of blocks of where I live. So I'm really lucky. That wasn't something I was looking for. Mainly I was looking to stay in walking distance of my work. Then I also just got lucky and got some great shopping places near me. I do feel super safe in my area. Safety was also a big thing that I wanted to consider in looking for a place. So your commute to work and the area surrounding you are also important factors. This tip is something that I've learned, and I will do it kind of with everything in my life now. A 30-minute in advance courtesy text to the person you're meeting. I can't tell you how many places I looked at and I would show up and the landlord forgot that they were showing it to me. They showed up late. And time is money. I don't have time to sit around and wait for you to come and show me the apartment. Like, if we agree on 10:30 a.m., I think that they should be there at 10:30 a.m. After being stood up a few times or having to wait an extra 20 minutes for the person to get there to show me the apartment, I started doing a 30-minute courtesy text. So if we're meeting at 10:30 a.m., I then texted them at 10 a.m. and was like, "Hi, this is Kayleigh. Just reminding you that we're meeting at 10:30 a.m. Looking forward to seeing the place." And then once I started doing that, I realized that everybody was on time. They were in a better mood. You know, they didn't look like they had bagel on the side of their face because they were eating breakfast and they forgot. So a 30-minute courtesy text is a great little thing to do. And I'm gonna start doing that whether I'm meeting up with friends, whether it's business inquiries, anything that I can, because I'm an early on time kind of person. And when people are late, I'm like, this is not it, this is not gonna work. So, a 30-minute courtesy text to the person you are meeting who's gonna show you the apartment. And if you don't have their number, send them an email, literally anything to just get their attention, to remind them that you're gonna meet up. Have a list of questions and don't be afraid to ask. I remember my first couple apartments that I went to, I was super, I guess, nervous to ask, but why should I be? It's gonna be my apartment, I'm paying the bills, and I need to know upfront everything that I have to pay for. So here are a couple of questions you can ask. How much is monthly rent? Are there any added fees I should know about? Are utilities included? Is there parking? Is there laundry on site, and how much does it cost? Are there any late fees for rent? If I have good credit, do I not have to put down a security deposit? How much is the security deposit? Do you have any specials that you can give me, such as a month free of rent or a month-to-month lease? Apartments.com also gives you a list of great questions that you can ask, and asking tons of questions shows the landlord that you are serious and that you're gonna be a great tenant. And I'm the queen of questions. I needed to know everything in advance. And knowledge is power. I literally should brand that like on my forehead. Knowledge is power, because once you know everything, nothing can hold you back. This tip is really hard for me because I don't like asking for help, or I don't ever wanna put pressure on people, but don't be afraid to hassle down the price or ask if they need any help that could help get your rent lowered. By that I mean, if the rent is $12.50, ask if they could just drop that extra $50. Just say, if you drop that extra $50, I'll sign right now. And sometimes people are willing to do that because they want to get people in. Also, ask them if they need help. Do they need someone to help disinfect the apartment complex? Do they need someone to help clean or sweep? It doesn't sound like that big of a deal, but saving that extra $50 could really pay off, or $100, or whatever they're willing to compensate you for your work. At my old apartment complex, they wanted me to show apartments, and in doing so, they were gonna knock $200 off my rent, which is great, and I was also gonna get paid. So if you don't ask, you already know the answer. So just ask if there's any help that they need, or if they'd be willing to knock $50 or $100 off the rent, and put your business face on. Thank you. And the last little tip I can give you for moving to Los Angeles is knowing that it will all work out. It's a scary thing, trying to figure out where you're gonna live, and also being crunched for time, but what is meant to be will be, and you'll find it, and the perfect place will find you. And then you have a year to learn and to get better for the next time you look. Or if you want to renew your lease, that's great. But I promise you, it will all work out. With everything, it will all work out. I'm telling myself this. I possibly have a job opportunity that's coming up, and I really want it. And I have to know that if it's for me, it will not pass me, and it's all gonna work out. Good things are coming. You can do it. I believe in you. If you have any other apartment hunting questions for Los Angeles, comment them down below, and I will do my best to answer them in the comments or possibly make another video. If you guys found this helpful, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button and hit the bell to get notified anytime I post, and I'll see you here next week. As always, keep it positive. If you know me, I'm an actor, and I've just discovered Hadestown the musical. I know I'm really late, but oh my gosh, it is so good. What I like to do is listen to the musical from start to finish and then try and learn as much as I can about the story and then kind of interpret it a little bit, and it is so good. It's so good. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!